This video is about connection with your kids, the essence of family life. This is a part 3 video of 4, so if you haven't checked out 1 and 2, click the link below, go and check those out, and I'll see you back here in a bit. We're going to be talking in this video more on the difficulties of parenthood and disconnection, how we can turn that around and be more connected with our kids, and then we'll give you some takeaways at the end as well. So also in the description box is a link to a PDF that I've done that covers all the information on all of these videos. So you don't have to take notes. So all you have to do is click the link, download it, it's yours to refer back to time and time again, as and when you need it, when you need that connection. So all you have to do now is grab yourself a brew, make yourself comfortable, and let's connect. Welcome back to A Spiritual Life. I'm Carrie. I'm a mindfulness teacher, a home-ed mum of 2 on a non-religious spiritual path. I'm passionate about helping parents learn a practical approach to spirituality to help with family connections and to live a more meaningful and conscious life. So today's video then, connection with our kids, and I've named this the essence of family life. I just want to say, you know, if you haven't got kids right now, it doesn't mean that you have no essence in your life. But as a family perspective, we do feel that kids can be the essence of our life. So I appreciate if you're watching this and you don't have kids yet, or at all even. You know, family doesn't have to be about kids, but I've called it that for the other reason. Okay. So I'm going to put that out there. Anyway, so we're starting with connection to kids. So parenthood. It's a roller coaster, isn't it? Isn't it just? 1 minute you think you've nailed it, the next day all hell breaks loose again. So yeah, difficult. Now I feel personally that we are in an age now of this spiritual evolution within us as a collective, that parenthood is gone another level of difficulty. I'm going to come on to that. I'm just talking now, just introducing it. So we will get more into that. But previously we had, there was less tech when we were younger, less tech to deal with. You were generally told what to do and did it, and what was expected of you. Language was different. The way we spoke to our elders was different. And kids, us, were different children as those that are coming in now. So I feel we are in the most difficult time as parents, and we need that connection even more, not just with our kids, but as a community. And that's what we're all about here at Spiritual Life. So let's dive deep into these difficulties and see if we can work through the time that we're in this spiritual evolution. So we've got style of parenting. So if, like me, and I would say I would be in the majority of people, I have spoke to people who have been brought up with conscious parents, but I would say probably the majority haven't, as a guess. Let me know in the comments below, what was your parenthood like? Were you expected to do things and do them, and that was an expectation for you? Or were you very seen and heard and had that safe space all the time, you know? I think you're lucky if you were the latter. So style of parenting, we don't know what it is generally if you weren't brought up that way and you were brought up the way I was. And I just want to say here before I go on, there's no judgment either way, okay? Our parents, there's no judgment or blame about the way we were brought up. I just want to say that. Our parents did the best they could with what they had and what they knew, and from their own experience. It's all this ancestral stuff, yeah? So there's no blame, there's no shame, there's no guilt to how parents did it before. And this is my point. I think we've moved as people, but we've moved as a collective as the earth is shifting. So we're coming into a different era altogether. So it's not just that we're not in a physical war anymore. We're in something else, aren't we? So it's all moving big time. It's getting faster and faster now. This world that we're changing energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally, the lot is big time different. And that's our challenge. So I just wanted to say that. No blame, no shame, no guilt to our parents who went through their own thing. But the style of parenting, we don't know what it looks like or feels like. If you don't know, if you want to change something, but to what? Because you don't know, you've never seen it, you've never heard it. How difficult is that? I know I don't want this, but I don't know really what that looks like that I want. And that's what I mean. That's the difficulty here in this transition period that we're in as parents. It's so hard. So just acknowledge that first, and acknowledge that you're here and you're willing to step up and do this work. And it is work and it is hard, which is why we need that community. So you don't know where to start. Where do you start? You've never seen it, you've never heard it before. Some of your friends might be parenting like that and you're like, how can I do that more? And so we don't know where to start, and nothing feels like it works. So your own parenting style, and remember, it's not just yours, it's your partner's parenting style as well. Like you might not be fully on the same page with everything, and that becomes difficult and that becomes a challenge. So style of parenting is something that we need to think about when we're connecting. Nowadays, we're too stressed and too fatigued. We're within a noisy environment all the time. It's just noise, constant noise, energetically noise. So you've got Wi-Fi's going everywhere. You know, in this house we have dehumidifiers. We're an old house, so we've got the whirring of that. There's, all technology. You've got washers, dryers, tellies on, devices on. There's noise all the time, and then add the kids to it. The kids like to express themselves, don't they? So they're constantly a noise. Where's your quiet time? And this is why we have to be more mindful and conscious with our life, and when it does get too noisy, to quieten down. But we come on to that. So we're too stressed, we're too fatigued because of this noise, and it's difficult to take the time required to learn, let alone implement something new. So you might be listening to this now going, yeah, it's all very well, and I agree with a lot of what she says, but it's so hard and I can't do it. I haven't got time, I'm too knackered. And it's true, we are. That's part of this challenge that we're in these spiritual times, in this spiritual evolution. We are all exhausted. But that doesn't mean we don't give up. We don't give up. We find that inner strength and we push through, and we make the changes we want and need and feel we have to make. We keep pushing through. We can do this as a collective. We're constantly weighing up the pros and cons of screen time, the dreaded screen time, huh? And my kids aren't into teenage years yet. I've got a few years, but it's still hard. You know, we have telly. We don't have devices as such, but you know, we're already struggling at this age. So hats off to those that are in the middle of the teens years. We're feeling shame and guilt, whether we give them it or not. So we give them it, we feel shame and guilt because we've given them it. And then the whole drama of getting them off it. We don't give them it, we feel the shame and guilt that all their friends have got it and they haven't. So we're working with all this real pent-up emotions here when we're trying to do the best thing. Remember what I said about parents in our previous generation? They did the best with what they've got. We've got this whole new element of tech to deal with. We're doing the best with what we know, with something so new. And all this stuff that I've just mentioned contributes to disconnection. All of it. The style of parenting, we're too stressed, too tired, the screen time, the tech issue, all contributes to disconnection. So how can we connect? So what and why do we need to connect with our kids? So it's back to, if you've listened to the other videos, we talked a little bit there about the inner child work. So what is that exactly? You might have done some of this before, if you've worked with coaches before or gone to like women's circles, men's circles even, they might have talked about the inner child, and it is about reflecting a lot. But you think about it in a nutshell, let's just hone in here. Inner child work is to be and feel seen and heard. The theme throughout all these videos is to be seen and heard, and to feel it. To feel and be seen and heard. Now, as a child, that's what you wanted. When you were a child, that's what you wanted. And you'll relate your childhood to whether or not you were seen and heard. So that's what you as a child wanted. You fast forward to adult, no kids, adult time, and you just with your partner, say, you still want to be and feel seen and heard. Fast forward now to being a parent and bringing our kids into the equation. So we've gone full circle now, and now we're talking about our kids. What do they want? To be and feel seen and heard. That's the inner child work. In a nutshell, that's what it is. It's where you've been, where you are now, and where you want to go. And all of it is about feeling and being seen and heard. So if you take nothing away for nothing, hopefully you get something. If you only take one thing away from all these videos, it's to be and feel seen and heard, and to think about that other person that we're talking about, to be and feel seen and heard. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So that's the inner child work. So how do we implement this? Like I said, if you've never done it before, how do we do it? If you've never seen it, don't know what it looks like, never heard it, never seen it, how do we do it? And I'm all about practicalities, and I get the whole stress and fatigue. So this hopefully can nail it down for you in practical ways that you will be able to manage. And what I would suggest is when we're working with connection to kids, all we can do is us. When we're doing any sort of work, all we can do is with how we respond. But if you can work with your partner or spouse with this, so you're both on the same page, then that is definitely going to be the better outcome when you're both working from the same page. So how to implement? Slow down. 2 words, slow down. Burnout won't help connection with anyone. Think about that. When you're burnt out because you're on the go, your head's too noisy, the environment's too noisy, you're too stressed, you're too fatigued. When you're burnt out, you're not going to help anyone. I'm just looking to see if I've got this further down so I don't repeat myself. But the filling up the cup, we've all heard that analogy, fill up your cup, but I've heard it in a way that says fill up your cup so much that it overflows, and the overflow spills out to other people. And that one really stuck in my mind. So overfill your cup so much that it overfills and helps other people. So how do we do that? We slow down. We slow down, we take time out. It's too noisy in here, I need a time out. Notice yourself going on the phone to distract. Step away from your phone, step away from kids for a minute, go and take yourself away, breathe. Do some gentle movement, put on a tune. But do what you need to do to pick yourself back up again in that moment, because burnout is not going to help you connect with yourself, let alone anyone else. And remember, there is a video on connection to self as well, so go and check that one out. Have regular moments of silence. So a little bit repetitive here. Not on your phone, don't numb and distract. So yeah, so slow down, have regular moments of silence. Rest doesn't mean sleep. rest doesn't mean, you know, going on your phone or reading, because that's still doing. So think about being, and just be in silence. If you want to meditate, fine. If not, just sit in silence. Take yourself away from that noise. This is a biggie. Don't resist their pain, discomfort, or yours. Okay? So what you resist persists. Don't resist their pain or yours. So as parents, is this where I'm going to talk about this? Let me check. Yeah, this is it. So this is a biggie. Don't resist their pain and discomfort or yours. That means we normally, when we feel pain or discomfort, distract and numb. Hit the chocolate, hit the drink, hit the phone, hit the whatever it is to push down that discomfort, that pain. And it can, the same can be said, that's for us, that the same can be said for our kids. So especially as parents, this is where that over-giving always happens, isn't it? Because we often see our kids in pain or discomfort and want to fix it. We want to fix it. Well, it's for them to sort out. You're there as a safe space for them. Let them feel what they're going through. Because if you don't, that will still persist. And they won't ever know how to get out of that themselves, ever. And they'll end up like the adult that you possibly are right now, pushing it all down. So all this work is, look at the self-connection, doing this work yourself, but then role modelling it first for your kids, and then implementing it with your kids too. So if they're in a difficult space at the minute, particularly, you know, I don't want to bring genders into it really, but particularly for boys, when in past generations there was, you know, don't cry, only girls cry. You know, that's a very old-fashioned statement now. But that has caused so much grief now to the older generation, to the men now, who don't want to show vulnerability because of what they were taught. So let's think about that. If our kids are in pain of some sort, let them be in pain, let them be in discomfort. Obviously, if there's something you need to fix it. That's the practicality side. But if it's emotional pain, let them be in it, and you hold the safe space. You don't have to say anything, you just have to be there, acknowledging it. So this is what we're going to move on to here, acknowledging them and their feelings and yours. Okay, all emotions are important. Now here's a big one that could divide you listeners out there. I'm all for explaining your emotions too when we're working with kids. So there could be, you know, let's say witching hour, bedtime, right? Everyone's exhausted. Everyone's ready for bed, tired, wired up, don't want to sleep. It all kicks off. You know what it's like. Okay, so let's hit bedtime. And the kids are bickering, whatever they're doing, kicking up a fuss, saying no to everything you say. And so they're going through their own stuff. You're going through your own stuff. You're knackered, you've got things to do, they need to get in bed so you can do these things because you have to go to bed in an hour and you need to get on, you know, because that's how late it is after all this bickering. So that's the situation. You're both really fraught, okay? So what we do in that moment is we honour what's happening. We take a moment, we sit, we connect, we might hold hands, we might sit down and just say, I know we're all tired. I'm feeling this right now. What are you feeling? We're all tired. We all just need to get to bed. Can we come back to this in the morning? And that's something here. So this is where we go into it here. Be curious, okay? If now is the time or place. So if you think you can open a little bit of space and do it right there and then give them the opportunity now or later. But if you do it later, please do come back to it. Now, this could be a lesson that they need to learn. I don't know, they've hit the sibling or something. Well, that's not appropriate. But you're about to walk out the door to get to an appointment. You have to leave. You can't get into something right now. So you say, look, that's not appropriate behaviour. We're going to talk about this later, but right now we need to get into the car. And then you make sure you revisit it, because otherwise that's just lost words. And it's not about reprimanding, it's about being curious and getting into their heads as well as yours. And you explain what's going on with you. And say sorry if you need to say sorry. That's a big thing. When you grow up without hearing the word sorry, that's quite massive. So give them the opportunity now or later to speak, to say what they're feeling, and and hold that space. Now, the acronym RAIN is really good for this. This is all in the PDF. So RAIN: recognise, allow, investigate, and nurture. Recognise what's going on. Allow it to be there. Investigate. So this is where, if there's time, you investigate and you get curious. Nurture what's happened. And it's in that nurturing where the connection happens for yourself and them. That's where they felt seen and heard, when you can nurture. I see you, I feel you, I know I can hold space for you. How can we move forward now? RAIN. I've covered that really. I think that's probably that bit to end. I've just put here, let them speak, let them feel seen and heard by you in the moment. Covered that. So all this is where the magic happens, the connection. The more you do this, the easier it becomes for both of you. So let's just, I'll go on the takeaways now. That's easier. I just want to talk forever. I've just got so much to say about this stuff, and I just want to help so many people, because I have struggled, still struggle with this, and I'm just trying to help you find your way with my experiences. But the takeaway is to be curious and listen. Don't project your own thoughts or try to fix discomfort. That's really key. Journal and meditate. I didn't really talk about this in the main body of it, but journal and meditate. So you can journal and meditate, and you can encourage your kids to journal and meditate. That can be something to have quiet time before bed to de-escalate and to start that connection process. If you say, right, go and journal your feelings and get that written down. Just have a general notebook at first, and then when they get in the habit of it, you can get these journals that have all the prompts in. I have a section on this in my spiritual curriculum for kids. Actually, I have a section on journaling and meditation, as I'm a mindfulness teacher, so I will do. But yeah, my spiritual curriculum for kids, the description, the link for that will be in the description box below if you're interested. But journaling and meditation's on there, and that's how we can approach that to your kids. Work with positive feelings and experiences too. This isn't all about doom and gloom. This isn't all about the negative stuff. In fact, we need to do it more with the positive stuff, because it's the positive stuff that needs that constant reinforcement, because it's the positive stuff and experiences in our lives that our ego doesn't take on and remember, because it doesn't need to, because that's not part of survival. So the good stuff that happens, you can have nine good exchanges in a shop when you're out shopping, and one bad one, you come home and you tell your husband about the bad one. That's why that's stuck. That's an ego thing. You've had to be self-preserve in that moment, because there was some sort of fear. Someone didn't like you, or someone said something about you. That one stuck, but not the positive things. So what we need to do in that situation as a partner would be, okay, well, what good things did you do today in that shop when you went shopping? What good experiences? What good interactions did you have? And reinforce them. Still acknowledging the negative and working through them, while also making sure to do the positives as well. So I've said this before, but what we start to do now on a night is I don't just like doing the gratitude lists, because I feel they get monotonous and not really embodied anymore when you do like 10 a night. Like, it's like I've got to find something I'm grateful for. So our 3 things, it's in there, but it's just not a massive list. What are you thankful for today? What have you done today that's kind? And what are you proud of? What have you done today that you're proud of? And that's positive things to talk about before bedtime, positive things to journal about, positive experiences to unpack and get curious about and use RAIN acronym for. So it's not just the negative. Acknowledge your hard work. So going back to the first video in this series, the self-connection one, acknowledge your hard work. Acknowledge that you're putting work into this. Really acknowledge the work you're putting into this and sit with that. And it's I'm welling up now, because it's times like this where we don't give ourselves that praise we need. And tell yourself, because you're doing this work, you are a good parent. No matter what's going on, no matter what challenges we're going through with our kids, we are good parents because we are doing this work and we want to do it for good intentions. So acknowledge your hard work. And as I've said, the thread that's going through all this, do I and they, our kids, feel seen and heard? That's what it all comes back to. Do I and they feel seen and heard? I do. Got a little tear. I do feel that kids need to know that we are worthy and valid too, and show respect too. I do feel that they need to know what we're going through too, so that they can learn to interact with other people in that way. If we shut down and don't tell them anything about us, how are they even going to get there? How are they even going to, relate to other people if they're not relating to us as people? It's not all about kids. It's about connection. It's a two-way thing. So do I feel seen and heard? So you need to say, actually, well, mummy needs a bit of a rest right now. So I'm just going to have this cup of coffee and then we'll do your game. Is that all right? And they'll get that, If you say it like that, they'll get that. I hate closing out my videos. I could just talk forever. I hope it's been really valuable for you, this video and the others. Do check out the others. And also don't forget to check out the description, click that link for this PDF with all the information in there too, and the link for the spiritual curriculum for kids. I wish you well in all your connections, in particularly from this video, your connection with your kids. Let me know how you get on. Drop some comments in the comment box. I'd love to hear from you. That's all for now. Much love. Bye for now.